All right. Welcome to the show. It is Wednesday, hump day. And your boy is doing some carpentry and painting. If you managed to watch some of my videos the other day, I hope you liked them. If you are European and you watched some of my videos the other day and they pissed you off, apologies. Just comment the way it looks from the American point of view, which I know you guys, if you're like us, you're probably like, well, no one gives a shit what you guys think about, uh, you know, how we do what we do. And you know what? I respect that, honestly. That is an answer that I totally respect. Like, if I'm talking smack about some other country and some guy from that country is like, how about you kiss my ass? How about that? I'd be like, well, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're patriotic. You like you like your country, and you don't like foreigners or whatever to be running it down. I mean, uh, I'm not way too loud. I'm actually pretty quiet. My wife's complaining about me being loud. But anyway, so yeah, let's get on with it. I need to pop these guys loose. Okay, that's a misprint. That sucks because that's a lot of wasted resin. Yeah, something's been going on with my 3D printer. Luckily, I had another one, so if I have to, I'll just swap over to the other one. All right, so that guy's good. Cool. It's a yeoman. This is the last faction I thought I would ever put together for Trench Crusade is the yeoman from New Antioch because they're so freaking boring. But hey, Jose. No way, Jose. Anyway, probably not something you ever grew up with, Jose, but growing up in America when you were like in, the first grade or something, and somebody would say something to you and you'd be like, no way, Jose. And then you'd think you were like super clever for some reason. Yeah, I'm a little upset that that mechanized guy came out bad. 1 second, gentlemen. Gentleman. She's like, I am adored and pampered and spoiled. It is my comrade, Jose. Hello, Jose.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. How are things down in the beautiful paradise?
Oh, yeah, well, I can say that they are better, I would say, because there were there were, when I told you about my situation, things were really bad. And basically, things have been falling in place one by one, and basically, things are almost right.
Getting
Almost.
better.
It is like 40% uh, missing, but it is almost right on its way, I would say. So,
Well, that's good,
yes.
man. Moving
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
right direction.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, it is in the good direction. Let's see how it happens. It also tells me that is because when things happen to you, all of them happen at once. Like Murphy was an optimist.
It,
Yeah.
it does seem like
Yeah, so
when
basically when
bad things happen, they
yeah,
happen like all at once. When it
yeah,
rains, it storms and all that.
yeah, yeah, but well, the storm is passing, and basically there is still some winds, strong winds, but things are much better, I would say. So
Well,
uh,
that's good.
yeah,
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, it is interesting. When I met you, I was in the middle of the hurricane, I would say, like the personal hurricane, and things are getting better. So
But
that's it. So
that is bueno.
that's bueno. See. And the good thing is that you learn a lot of things. You mature a little bit too, because hardships always teach something. And basically, it's so basically the experience has not been just a waste, but you learn and you mature and you learn to understand other people in a different way. So
Hmm.
people with similar situations.
Well,
Hello, how are
and
you?
how you doing, Vic? Uh,
Oh, I'm having a little fun today.
uh, what are you rebuilding?
I'm not. My sister turns, well, I was supposed to get this picture last year for her 50th birthday, but my mom decided to send it this year. And I've been doing some judicious editing of a picture of my sister when she was very young. And I'm going to send it to her tomorrow in a text message and to all the relatives just to give her the needles. And she loves teasing her older brother, you know.
Nice.
Well, when I turned 50, her and my mom teamed up on me. So I think a little turnabout's fair play, you know?
I You can't see more because of the screen closing, but I've got my wood dowels out. I've been doing some carpentry.
Ooh,
Yeah, I've decided to be all like super professional with my Trench Crusade board.
oh, nice.
It's going to be
Wow.
exactly 4x4 and reinforced. And then I bought a bunch of very thick felt to put underneath it with like spray adhesive so that when I put it on my table, there's no chance of, scratching the table because otherwise that would just be bad. So other
Well,
than that,
So I'm looking for something, James, and maybe somebody in your stream or somebody will know where to find this. I'm looking for a jungle covered abandoned city. Meaning buildings are still sticking up, maybe some are underground, but I'm looking for a map like that so I can spring it on my players next week or this weekend.
oh, I don't know. I
like a
don't know. I
jungle?
mean, somebody might.
Well, maybe Jose would, but
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Jose lives in a jungle covered city.
yeah, yeah, I can see the mountains with trees from home.
yeah, I
Something.
was thinking like Mayan or Aztec or something like that. Just a jungle covered city that I could spring on my players since they're going into the deep dark sus forest here, and I gotta sort of give them the scenario, or um,
Are you running the Lost City?
no, I'm not.
Okay, what is the one that's
The reason I can't run anything like that is I got too many players who've got all the modules, and so I make up my own stuff.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, so I mean, I wish I could, but I mean, it's just so hard to do something with these guys because anytime I pull up a module or something, I start telling them something. I know where we're at, and you see them all talking to each other, and it's just like, God damn it, it just pisses me the hell off, you know.
And then you're like, you must all be murdered now.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
You
it's
can't have any of this.
it doesn't make me happy one bit that I have to sit there and deal with that kind of nonsense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because then it just ruins the whole day. I've got something figured out, and it's like, no, you know, I don't want to be lazy. Now I have to be the dungeon master that everybody doesn't like, or I have to put something together that makes them do whatever.
Well, they
So,
must like what you're doing because they keep coming back.
well, yeah. Well,
What I learned about RPG is that what makes the story exciting is high stakes and beloved characters.
eh,
So as long as it has that, it will work in any way. For example, I was having the idea of turning Die Hard the movie into a BattleTech adventure or something like that. So instead of stealing bonds or something like that, they will steal a division of mechs or something. So it was a crazy idea that needs to have some development. And of course, the villain is called Hans Gruber, like in the movie. And the characters would need to collaborate with John McClane, something like that. So you can borrow ideas from movies too.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I know. It's just. I try to bring something new and innovative every time I count. What I'm doing. So I was thinking of
That's too hard.
The difficulty of being original is that you need to remix so many influences, because if not, it will look like you copy and paste, and that is the difficulty. In a
Yeah.
way, well, the output of AI used to be generic, but if you bring different concepts, the separate concepts, and tell the AI to mix them, the mixture is going to be more or less like a conceptual idea to start from, and from there you can develop. This is something that I have found. So for conceptual art, it works, but not for final, which is basically what lazy people do. What do you think?
What do I think? I am creating another warband because that's what I do. Um, and then I was thinking of the module set in Greyhawk down in the jungle, and that it was a really cool module. I remember.
which one is that? The Lost City of whatever it was, B1, 2, something like that.
Well, it's not the B because the B was the one where it's a pyramid in the middle of a desert. This one was, I think, an AD&D adventure, but you were in the jungles. Hey, what's up, Shark? You're in the jungles south of Sheldamar Valley and all that.
Yeah.
And there's like this ancient city, and I think Yanti might be a thing there.
Yeah,
I
for
don't know.
example,
I gotta figure this all out, and I gotta either I'm gonna do it today or I'm gonna do it right at the table. I'm just gonna draw a map on the really quick when they take a break, and get the uh, get the city all set up because they're looking for a lost ancient library,
I have an
and
idea. I have an
so
idea. How about if you make a summary of each module, you enter that into the AI, and then tell the AI, please remix
yeah.
to get some conceptual ideas, and basically it would be like a remix of what to see if something comes up.
Well, I've already sort of sent. I've already been looking for that kind of stuff, and
Okay.
it's sort of difficult. Like I said, when you've got players that know all the modules, have read all the modules.
Mm,
I mean, I got guys that have played for 40 years, so
wow.
it gets a little tough. Hey,
Yeah.
Shark,
Very.
you think it's cold there? It's let's see here. Let's see here. It's negative something today, and I couldn't get my semi started, so we'll try again tomorrow when it warms up a little bit, and maybe I'll plug it in and get it rolling. So maybe I'll get to work this week, probably next week though. So
Well, you have a tough job being a DM for people who have played so long.
yeah, it. That's why I made the deck of curses, because it was like, well, hey, nobody uses curses. Now that I entered some more curses into the game, tricks and stuff like that, it makes them think. Let's put it that way, Jose. They really analyze the situation they're coming into, and instead of them being greedy what do you call those treasure hogs or whatever. It's like, before we pick up something, we better figure this out.
How about going the Galaxy Quest approach? Think of a motivation. Think of a like in Galaxy Quest. Remember, you had the monster, and they said you need to find the motivation of the monster.
Mhm.
Uh, Sorry, I'm saying silly things. That is
But see,
because
there's
It's all
things
right.
like there's like H in the Dungeon Master Guide, Appendix H, and tricks and traps and stuff like that. So you got to use all kinds of little tricks on the players that make them think about what they're doing and how they're going to do things. I've made modules that have absolutely only one set of monsters in it all the way through, and players have just been, they just go crazy because they're just like, when are we going to get attacked? When are we going to get attacked? And they don't ever get attacked until the very end. So,
Shark, I have to disagree with you. I love cold weather. As I've said, that's why I always visit my mom in the winter time so that I can.
yeah, it said it was like 24 degrees up in Tennessee today. I have a
Yeah,
buddy
where
that's
my mom is, it was 10.
yeah, I have a buddy that's up in Memphis. He's a police officer there, and he said it was like 9 degrees or 19 degrees today, and he was like complaining about it. And I'm just like, oh, come on. You're 60 something years old. He's going to try to be the longest living police officer in Tennessee. I mean, the longest tenure. And I think he's at over 40 something years being a police officer at this point. So,
He could make it.
oh yeah, he's gonna try. He said he was gonna try for 50, and then he will be the longest tenured police officer in the state of Tennessee, and his job is really easy. He's on a DUI task force.
Mm.
Shadow and Sun. If you want a deck of traps, if you're looking for something like that, just go get. Where is it? I have it sitting around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Look for this one. When you're looking for something, it's Grimtooth's Ultimate Trap Collection. You don't need anything else. If you want to go have some fun, this is the end all be all of traps. If you really want to, if you don't want to work too hard, that's the one. If you want a deck of traps, I could probably make one later, but curses are easier. And I was going to work on wilderness encounters for daily encounters, because you always encounter stuff walking through the woods. It isn't just an easy walk, or in the city. You think you're going to just walk through the city without anything happening in medieval times, and that isn't going to happen. Something's always going to happen. So that's what I'm working on currently. So
Here's a curse you can think about. How about a curse that turns a virgin woman into a very promiscuous woman?
I'm not saying anything about what's in I think I got something like that in here.
Because that is an actual curse in Slavic myth that a Lubovic or a Pernich can put on a woman.
What would you call that? Hold it. I better not say I did that, James. You know why? I tried to
Because
keep all the
people are
sex
listening.
I tried to keep all the sex stuff out of this. Besides, you're changing.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying like go into detail about what's happening, but
I know, but I
basically, if a Pernich comes back, which is an undead fetus,
yeah.
because it wasn't buried correctly, one of the curses it can put on people is it can turn a virginal woman into a very promiscuous woman.
Mm. Well, I do have.
As a curse, it can also blow down your barn too.
Oh,
with like powerful wind. And in the Polish version that Pundit used, it has the head of a dead fetus, but the body of a raven. But in the Russian version, the Pernich, it's just a undead fetus that kind of floats through the woods at night. It's a type of vampire because we're talking Slavic myth, and everything in Slavic myth is a type of vampire. You know, it feeds on blood.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the Lubavitch, I believe if that's the correct one, the Polish version, they like to go back to the farm where they were abandoned by their mother or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they like to feed off all the livestock until it's dead. And then they would, move on to the people. I mean, if you've got a Doomavoy, you might be okay, but there's only so much that a friendly house spirit can do for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See,
I don't
if
have
you
anything.
really want to surprise your players, what you should do is buy Baptism of Fire and start running. Tell them all, here's the deal. You live in 9th century Poland, pick your class, and just start throwing crazy Slavic shit out. They start walking through the woods, and you're like, you see a old woman with a long, pointy ear riding in a mortal and pushing herself with a pestle. What do you do? I mean, if they're smart, they know that's Baba Yaga, and they're screwed. Because Baba Yaga does not mean the boogeyman. It's a correct term for a particular being, but it also in Russian means an evil old witch with droopy tits.
Yeah, the closest I've got in here is a person dresses like the opposite sex, obsessive gambling. Let's see here.
The gambling addiction is not necessarily a wonderful thing for a player to get, because next thing you know, they're freaking broke. Yep. It can get even worse too, depending on who they're gambling with.
Oh, I know. Well, I've got all kinds of
here. Yeah, Hungar knows. I ran a game for Hungar in my homebrew setting, and they got attacked in the middle of the night by Pernit, and it gave him nightmares. He called me the next day bitching.
Well, Hunter just always has an axe to grind with you, James. He just always has an axe to grind with you. So,
well, because they were in the woods and they could hear an infant somewhere out in the woods laughing and giggling and burbling.
Yeah.
So they finally decided we need to find this infant. What they didn't know, though, is it was a Pernich that knew where they were and was waiting off the trail. And so the party broke camp or whatever, and they went out in the wood looking for it, thinking they're going to save a baby. One of them almost got choked to death by some umbilical cord. And then it was draining levels and sucking blood and running amok, and they were having the hardest time figuring out how to kill it. And yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
and then the cleric in the group had to bury it with proper funerary services. Otherwise, they come back.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another one of those things that did they do it properly? Yeah. And then I roll the dice. Like, did you do it properly?
There's nothing like the sound of a baby's laughter unless it's 2:30 in the morning in the middle of the night, in the middle of a forest, and you don't have a baby. Yeah, exactly. Because it's just so... It's just so a thing that shouldn't happen.
Out of place.
But it does. Yeah. And then you're like, this is putting the players in a completely different mind space. It's like, what is actually going on here, And it's because some woman from a local village had a miscarriage and hid the fact and buried the result without alerting the priest. And there's a lot of reasons a woman might do this. Maybe because she was having an affair, or maybe because she was not married. A lot of these Slavic myths that are like this, they're actually designed as kind of moral fiber tales, right? Like, if you're a woman, don't have sex until you're married, because if you do, it could get your whole family killed if you inadvertently create a parentage or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, pick up Baptism of Fire. Throw your players into that shit. See how they love that. Have one of them have to play like either an Orthodox or a Catholic priest. Actually, it's the same thing. The church hasn't split up yet, so it's just East versus West rights. And then they have to go out and fight. You know, like if they're walking through the woods and they come up on a river and there's a beautiful red-headed woman swimming in the river and she starts asking one of them to join her.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Rasulki. As soon as they get in the river, they're done.
Roll your check.
Not, because
roll
they
check.
are.
That's called roll your check and roll. No, what do you mean roll my check? Roll
you
your
could
check.
fight it off, and if you're a really, really handsome young man, like with an 18 charisma, there's a chance the Rasulki could fall in love with you. See, so it reverses. You know, it can get weird, but woke up with a bunch of cold white stuff all over. Did you have some kind of nocturnal emission?
No, I think he's talking about the snow up there. Hungar's complaining.
Yeah,
I mean, moved back to Kentucky, should have stayed in Florida. See,
you know what they used to say, that if you had that happen, it meant that you were visited in the night by a succubus.
You mean his wife that came up?
Like Roman Catholic priests used to wear rings that had spikes on the inside of them on their rings when they would go to bed, so that if they tried to get an erection, it would poke them and wake them up.
I just watched Pope's Exorcist. You ever watched that movie, James?
I have, and let me tell you, the priest who actually knew the Pope's Exorcist said he hated that movie and it was bullshit.
All right. Well, I just saw it and I thought it was bad. Ever. I love the special effects in the when they were trying to make the demon go away. You know, the glowing wards and sigils and stuff like that. That was pretty. It was pretty cool.
It was, especially because, again, I'm telling you, if you were to play Baptism Fire, that is a thing that happens. Like actual demons and evil beings summoning them and pagans doing weird pagan shit. Yeah, these things all happen in that game. And if you're playing a supposedly, let's say, a good guy character, a Christian holy warrior or whatever, not that you have to, you could just be an archer or forester or something. It could lead up to you to be the guy to try to put an end to the thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So now the movie you want to watch, if you want to see what it's actually like, is Nefarious.
Okay.
The guy who was best friends with the actual Pope's exorcist, and he's a priest that's way, way high up in the Roman Catholic Church for exorcists. He watched that movie and said it was dead on, 100% dead on. And that's what it's actually like. And I was like, well, it's time for me to make some bacon, egg, and cheeseburgers with taters. For dinner, it's nowhere near dinner time. What in the hell are you doing? I think it's time for you to jump in the chat and at least say hello to people. You know, there's a lot of people in this chat that love and miss you, and you just basically completely blow people off on the daily and shit. You know, it's like, what are you doing, man? Now, I'm not sure who in this chat loves you, but I'm sure someone does. Nectarius scared the shit out of me. Yeah, it will, because it presents the whole situation in such a matter-of-fact way that it's like, you know, you're like, you know, it's like, it doesn't present it in like, hey, you're getting ready to watch a scary movie. It presents it in like, some things are happening. You know what I mean? And then the things happen. And then you're all like, oh, man, I eat at 5 p.m. every day.
I eat at 5. That's when I like to have dinner.
All right. Well, you are 50, so that makes sense.
52.
You make an excellent housewife there, Ungar.
You know what? She pays my bills, and I get to stay at home and watch anime and eat whatever I want to and do whatever I want all the time. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, except
You're just jealous.
shouldn't be at home eating and doing whatever you want.
All right, Ungar knows I'm just razzing him a little bit, sort of like he's always has the axe to grind. So.
People be jealous.
Yep. But see, that's, in my opinion, that's one of my proudest moments as a DM is the fact that I gave some of my players nightmares.
Yeah. You can digest the satchel of Richards, my good man.
You still upset about it, huh? Yeah. Well, that's what they got, though, because they traveled through these woods to meet with a party of dwarves to help the dwarves clear out a dwarven hold. And as soon as they got to the front door of the place, they found some of the dwarves were dead and had been for like a week. So the wizard used wizard eye and he sent it in there and he's scouting around. And he saw a bunch of hobgoblins marching around on patrol, like 10 of them. So he told the rest of the group. So then the group decided not to go in to the cave and instead just to head to the coast to hang out at Kaliningrad. So on the way, they got jumped by Perniich. And then when they got to Kaliningrad, Hungar's character, who was a dwarf, got a blood duel challenged on him by the leader of the team of the dwarves because half of them had survived.
Yeah, we should have just
mixed with Finnish, Baltic, Germanic, and Siberian elements. Yeah, that sounds awesome, Shark. I think too many people, and I've said this before, too many people, and I understand it. I'm not saying they're wrong, so I shouldn't say too many people, but a lot of people automatically default to Tolkien or Western Europe because, I mean, that's where most of them are from. But there is this whole other part of the world that is just straight up bullshit. And if you're willing to do the work and look into it and, play it out, I think it can be very, very exciting and enjoyable for your group, like all the witches and weird monsters and shit. I know I'm the guy that pisses people off on X because they'll say something like, they'll try to be anti-Christian and they'll bring up the witch burnings, which only happened on the continent, never actually happened in America, never happened in England. That was something that happened in like the continental areas, right? And my response is always, but what if they were right? It's like this assumption that all of the people who got charged with being witches and punished were just innocent people.
That brings up a point that we, Hunger, go ahead first. I'll bring up mine next.
I just don't want my brother to sell himself short. He pisses people off at a lot more places than just Twitter.
I know. We heard yesterday his wife was going to beat him with a spoon, but she didn't.
Well, because I hadn't ate all day, and she's like, "Get off that computer and come eat."
But anyways, me and the girlfriend got in a discussion the other day about curses and stuff like that. And you know what I said to her? I said, this is what the British get, because we're talking about Britain. I said, this is what Britain gets for bringing back all that stuff from all those places like Tutankhamun's tomb and everything else, when they were doing the archaeological expeditions. They kept bringing stuff back. And I was like, you don't know what you're messing with. Who knows if they had the powers back then to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we all know that if the pyramids could be moved, they'd be in the Museum of London.
Oh, God, yes.
The thing is this. Thank you for dropping in, Hungar. The thing is this. As somebody who's read a lot of H.P. Lovecraft, there's part of my brain that thinks, what if those curses are true?
Yeah.
Because when you find an ancient tomb and there's like a curse on it, like if you go in this tomb and F around, you will find out at like 11 plus
Right.
degrees. And it's like, okay, the skeptic in me is like, no. But then the other part of me is like, but what if?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's been proven that scientifically, some of these civilizations before were fairly sophisticated. You know what I'm
Very
saying?
sophisticated.
And it doesn't mean they didn't have like people that figured out, hey, if we put these spores inside this casket and somebody opens it, it's gonna, these spores are going to, fly up in their faces, get inside their lungs, and kill them eventually. Just it's just something that's it's um, gonna happen. So I mean, there's some things that I do not discount. I don't discount alien life ever having come to Earth. I don't discount curses not being real, or at least biological weapons being made and distributed even back in the Babylonian era. There's just some of that stuff that that I will not discount.
Me neither. I'm going to have to lean into the agreeing with you on this. I'm not saying I believe it, but at the same time, I'm not willing to be all like, no, there's no way.
I once watched an UFO. It was a clear day and it was like a mile away from me in a clear day, so I could see it very clearly. And it was in a zone where no one flies, and it defied every law of aerodynamics that I know, because I see things like a nerd from the science perspective. So instead of trying to say about mythical what planet are they or something like that, I just wonder, how do I build one of those?
Well, here, Jose, you have your UFO story. My UFO story is a little crazier. I was driving a truck from Reno to Las Vegas one night, really late at night, and I just bebopping around on my radio, listening to the Reno radio station, and I'm in the middle of the desert. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. There's nobody about. I'm trucking right along at about 75, 80 miles an hour in my Peterbilt, and all of a sudden, my radio cuts out, and I'm like, uh-oh, what happened here? So I hit the scan button. It went through all the way through the dial, AM and FM. Got nothing. All of a sudden, something passed over the top of my truck, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And then after that, 2 jet fighters came flying by me at about Mach whatever with their afterburners lit, and 5 minutes later, my radio comes back on. No problem. It's like somebody jammed
Wow.
my radios. None of my radios worked, CB or regular radio. And I was like, what the hell just happened?
If I had to guess, I would say you both encountered some sort of top secret aircraft or other thing.
Well, that's what my thought was, because the first whatever passed over the top of me, I didn't see any flames coming out the back of it or anything else. It was just a dark shape, just woof. You could hear the air pressure move, and then you saw the 2 jet fighters come trucking past me at the same time. And I'm like, what the hell?
Okay, now I think that now you have the start of the story that you were looking for your players.
Yeah. Only in a BattleTech game.
No, you can replace it with the dragon or something like that, a monster or something. No.
Yeah, that's one thing I always tried to do in my homebrew game.
Yeah.
Is all of the monsters, like, not orcs and stuff, obviously, but like chimeras and stuff. for the most part, were one-offs. Like you would never encounter like 50 manticores. There was like the manticore of so and so, you know. And I tried to do that quite a bit. I agree with Shark. If you thought you saw a UFO, it was probably some extra, well, demonic entity. Uh,
I
because
don't know.
I know a lot of
I'm a
people
firm
want
believer that
life
there is.
to be like Star Trek, but it's never going to be. And I hate to be the guy to say
I
that,
know.
but it's just never going to be.
I
There
know.
are no aliens.
You don't think there's aliens and how many billions of stars there are out there?
Nope. Because statistically, if they were, we would have found them.
Uh,
Or
Unless
they would have
no.
found us.
unless aliens see how stupid humans are and decide, no, we're not going to go there.
No. Jose, you
No.
of all people should know this.
Yeah,
What do you think would happen if aliens found us?
they would realize how stupid we are.
No, they would exterminate
No.
us and take all of our shit.
Really.
Because that is what happens when a technologically advanced culture encounters a less technologically advanced culture. Not
Or
sometimes, not occasionally, every time.
or we would be just part of the landscape. It is just like going to the sea and ask a dolphin, please bring me before your leader or something, right?
Now, we're smarter than that. They would absolutely just whack us. But the thing
No.
is, and this is, I mean, and I'm sure Vic has heard of it, it's the Fermi paradox,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
which is like if you're going to say there's infinite time and infinite stars, therefore there has to be aliens, well, then it follows unlogically that we should have encountered them. But since
here's
we
a-
have
here's-
not encountered
But
them,
remember, James, we're talking stars are millions of light years away. So we're looking a million years into the past. And
yep,
they might be as technologically advanced as we are at this very moment. So, I mean, we're looking at their society and they're still running around like apes like we were, a million years ago. So, I mean,
that is an argument.
we may not know anything unless we could figure out how to, and this is one of those things, develop a warp drive or some type of dimensional travel that doesn't require gravitational plates or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, James.
Indeed.
It would just take too long for a human being to travel conventionally between
Well,
Earth
to ever
and
get to
another
wherever they
star.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed, when I saw that UFO, I realized that it has to be flying using the magnetic field of the Earth because there was no air being used, no aerodynamics, no nothing. It had to be, and it was rotating. It was like a ellipsoid figure. And
You can't fight though. The laws of aerodynamics are no matter what. There's just nothing that you can do
yeah,
about
but
unless you're in phase or something like that. If you're phased out and you're using a third dimension like in Dungeons and Dragons, like
Mhm.
what do you call those? Apparition or a shadow or something
Mhm.
like that, where you're hugging two different planes of existence. Then you can move without sound. You know what I'm saying?
Jose saw the United States' latest advancement in stealth
Mhm.
technology with his own eyes.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. So
Yeah.
basically, I can tell you about the prototype. Yeah.
I mean, so if I were you, I'd say mum's the word, bro. Last thing you want is like the men in black showing up,
Hmm.
asking you about what were you talking about again?
Oh, yeah, it was like a UFO that I saw, and I thought that they were aliens.
Yeah, you don't want to have the government showing up at your door going, Hi, we're going to take all your research, everything, your computers, all your paperwork, everything. And then, oh, by the way, sign this piece of paper because you no longer can talk about what you've invented, you know?
Which has happened to ufologists.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I would say not because they encountered actual UFOs, but because they encountered some kind of military black site or just some shit that is secret. And the government rolled in and was like, yeah, you're screwed now, buddy.
Don't worry, I will tell them that I was there with a neighbor who moved to another place and I do not know where.
Right.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
And that's
not with the NSA and everybody else. Like,
yeah.
You know, they could be monitoring our they could be monitoring our communication right now, and we could say keywords like terrorist, bomb, airplane, stuff like that, and then they would come in here and they'd look at James's thing and go, all right, what are these guys talking about here? They're talking about
I was just getting ready to say the fact that you just said all the things you said probably just put me on a list.
Yeah. But they will monitor the conversation. They'll know that we are talking about how they operate and stuff. And it's not even that, you know, Jose and James, you guys all know this. The United States contracts out with Australia, New Zealand, and Britain, and they contract out with their government spy agencies to spy on us, while they contract out with our NSA to spy on their citizens. So the British will contract the NSA and say, hey, spy on this, you know, Osama bin Laden or whatever his name is he's inside Britain. We'll get all this conversation, then we'll just ship it for free back over to the British. No problem, because they did the right thing and they came after me and they monitored all my communications on my phone and my devices for the U.S. government. So
if the guys in black show up, I will tell them, okay, you can hire me. You can hire me and I will work for you. I have no problem. If you want me away from the secret stuff, just make me.
We probably don't have enough brain power between the two of us to work for them, except for as a janitor.
It's more likely, Jose, they'll just send you to a black site in Egypt where you'll be tortured until you pray that you'll die.
Okay.
Yes, Shadow, the 5 eyes. Exactly, the 5 eyes.
Because that's the other thing that we like to do is we offshore our torture to other countries. Why do it yourself when you can hire someone else to do it? I mean,
you can send it to Uzbekistan. We practically own that dictator there. We just chopper them right up to Uzbekistan, do our thing inside of a black site, and then chopper them back and dump them off in the middle of a road in the middle of Afghanistan and say, hey, here we go.
There you go. Yep. Have a good one. Yep. Apparently, when my wife gets back, I'm leaving because she has decided that we're going to Publix.
Oh, going grocery shopping, huh?
I guess. Damn it. This woman, I don't know what I did before she started thinking she was in charge of things, but
well,
at some point in our relationship, I have apparently lost control. And now she just thinks she's in charge of everything.
Oh, well.
No, what
she
I
cooks
do.
The meals, right? She cooks, right?
She does cook.
All right. Well, you lost. Till you start cooking, you lose.
Well, technically, she is in charge of everything. So, according to the federal government, she is in charge. I am a ward of her. So
Men in Black do exist. I know that there is some group called Men in Black that brought the Star Siege game back to modern computers. So
yeah, the Men in Black don't exist. Shadow and Son. The Men in Black are just CIA or NSA or any agent you can think of wearing black suits. That's all that is. I mean,
they're
that's
CIA. They're the defense.
I own a black suit. If I bought a pair of thick black aviator glasses, guess what? I'm a man in black.
Yeah.
And if I've got a license to kill and a federal ID, then I mean, what are you going to do about it? I mean, a lot of
DIA.
shit that now, while I do love the woo woo, and I do love the woo woo, but a lot of things that people want to make big deals out of, they're not that big of a deal. There's a simple reason, like men in black that show up and F with you. Okay, like Vic said, go on your computer and start talking some words. Some men in black will be by. It's a matter of time, you know. I mean, right? And they're not aliens or whatever. They're just dudes who have the ability to stick a sack over your head and ship your ass to Kazakhstan or some shit, Kazakhstan, and then there you'll be. You know, I mean,
Yeah, you're on a rendition flight in no time. I mean, that's the thing is that
no, Johnny Cash is the original Man in Black. He sung.
Well, the thing is that nobody ever considers somebody like the DIA, which is a Defense Intelligence Agency, are going to be the ones that come as the Men in Black. They're going to be the ones that come into your house and go, "Hey, look what we've got! We've got a XYZ warrant, and we're going to come in here and do what we want, and there's nothing you can do about it because that's a national security issue, you know."
Right, which supervents like a lot of your protection. Women like running the house. Yes, that's their job. Women, I mean, if you want to be like me, super traditional and religious, the house is for the woman and the man provides so that she can run the house. Super easy, you know? And then she's happy because she has her domain. And then she gives you peace, hopefully, so you can be happy. Because let's be honest, most guys that are married, honestly, what we really desire is to be left alone.
That's
unless
right.
we're hungry or we're feeling randy in some way. Otherwise, just go do whatever you want to do. We don't care. You know
what? I have my basement.
Your car fixed or something. Otherwise, just like this room I'm in, which is a total wreck. She is kind enough to ignore that this room is a total wreck because this is my room.
Right. Well, that's the same.
I'm allowed to see. Here's the thing, though, Shadow and Sun. Remember the saying, right? The best way to do anything is to do it in a way where no one knows you did anything at all. Do I get the final word on anything that's going on in my house? Yes. Do I
exercise that right?
Put down and exercise that shit off and
No.
maybe once a year. Because it's just easier to be like, whatever you want, love, whatever you want. Because it don't affect me. Like tonight, we're going to go and probably buy some pub subs or something. And I don't give a shit. Because I'll order an Italian sub or an ultimate. And I'll come home and eat it. And I'll be good. And I won't care. You know
James,
what I mean?
got the same thing I got going here. My office is my space. And my garage is my garage. Now, she gets the privilege of parking the garage, but does she get to work on anything out there? No. That's my
thing is, my wife is actually not a bad mechanic because her
help me out there.
Her dad kind of treated her like a son because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had like 6 daughters and 1 boy. So my wife ended up being, she's the second youngest and she become the son that he always wanted. You know what I mean?
Right. But
so
my girlfriend can work on a car too, but does she choose to do that? No, she's just like, no, you go do that stuff. Okay, baby. See you later.
Yeah, like you'll never catch my wife out in the front yard digging up sprinkler heads.
Yeah.
To freaking, fix them because our actually wonderful lawn care guys, they are wonderful. I love them to death. But occasionally they just feel the need to run over a sprinkler head with one of their giant ass mowers. And because this house is like 10 years old, PVC pipe, when it's been in the ground a while, can get pretty brittle.
Mm.
And that 1/2-inch PVC cracks and then the sprinklers turn on. And I'm like, there's a fountain in the front yard. So then I got to turn the sprinklers off and dig that shit up and repipe it. And it's like, whatever.
I don't mess with her garden. It's just like, nope. If you need a hand, she comes in and grabs me and says, I need you to pull this, or I need you to dig up this. Okay, I'll do it. Then I leave her alone. It's like, nope. She's got her budget. She does her thing in her garden. I just stand back and watch.
Yeah, my wife and I do not share bank accounts. It's just if a bill needs to be paid, it's like whoever's got the money is handling it. And the other thing is she basically is in charge of every other part of the house except for this particular room. And then on top of that is misogynistic as some people might think I am. I mop and sweep. I sweep and mop every floor in this house. I clean every toilet in this house. You know, I carry the trash out. I do all the, you know. Oh, she's back from her walk. So this is going to be a short one. That's fine, though. An hour is good. Plus, remember, in a couple hours, Double D will be on. And apparently he's calling somebody pervert or something. So that should be really interesting.
Oh, the porno thingy. It was a porno thing or whatever.
Right. So, well, yeah. That's Shadow. I'm there with you. But sometimes, you know, it's just so easy to be like, I'm just going to do it. Like, if I want to, I could be like, I ain't going. I'm going to stay here and stream for like 8 hours. I could do that. And she would be pissed. Or I can be like, no, I'll go to the store and get a sandwich. I mean, you know, go with the flow. Why cause any static?
Hang out with your wife.
Hang out with my beautiful wife. You snuck like a freaking ninja. I swear to God. She is too. She's so light-footed. I don't hear her moving around the house. So like I'll be sitting here and all of a sudden she'll just be there and it's like,
I'm waiting for one of these days she's gonna come up behind you with a wood spoon, James, and tap you on the shoulder or something.
We've got a bunch of those damn long-handled silicone spoons.
Yeah,
those things would be like rubber whips, you know.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, guys, peace and love. Is a great conversation.
All right.
I will catch you later.
What's she saying?
Oh, she's saying my brother has a better sense of hearing because she's never snuck up on him.
Oh, Hungar?
Well, Hungar grew up with me, so he had to develop almost supernatural abilities to defend himself from sneak attacks.
Topic for the next video: the asteroid YR4. YR4.
YR4. That sounds like something that Shakespeare wrote about.
Yeah, there is an asteroid that is coming in 2032.
Oh, yeah.
And if I'm alive and they say it's going to hit the Earth, I'm just going to put something on TV, have a drink, and chill the fuck out because there's nothing you can do. So, you know, you can run around like a madman, you can do whatever, but guess what?
Yeah,
it's not going to matter. I would be more concerned about the 10th planet out past Pluto called Nibiru.
Mm-hmm.
That's on a weird ecliptic orbit. So once every 20,000 years, it actually passes between Jupiter and Neptune or some shit.
Wow.
But hey, you know, whatever. Space is weird.
I've got theories about that too. We can talk space and all that stuff next time if you guys want. So
all right. Catch you guys later, and everybody. I'll see
Pasta la pasta, folks.
See you guys in Double D's chat later, probably.